Yeah.
You ready?
I think I'm ready. Did you want to clap? Holy Jesus.
That was a good one.
That was a loud one.
All right, title of today's video:
Is
How to Not Be That Guy or Gal That Pays for Your Salesperson's
month-long European vacation.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun with this one.
Yes, you were supposed to pull something up that I'd be able to read it.
Oh yeah. We wrote some
Well,
notes.
notes. If you just want to rely on an old man's memory, we're in deep trouble.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a while here.
Yeah.
So being serious for a moment. There are some things you shouldn't do if you're thinking about buying a car. And we're going to talk about a few of them.
Yes.
And they're primarily geared around, my dad's used this phrase called a lay down, right?
Yes, a lay down, if you would like me to explain what a lay down is.
Please.
A lay down is someone who comes in and basically has, I don't know, $8,000 to $10,000 stapled to their forehead, has their tongue wagging, hanging out of their mouth going, I want that one. That, my friends, is a lay down. Well, you know, that's that $4,000 car is on sale on special today for $79.95. I want that one. That is a lay down.
So a lay down is slang or slang, right?
Slang.
It's dealer slang.
Dealer slang, jargon for somebody that's just, well, not really putting up much of a fight when it comes to agreeing to the price of a car.
And like we talked about in one of the podcast episodes recently, you said it really eloquently, Dad. You said you don't negotiate for pretty much anything in the United States except for a car.
Why is it so hard? Because it's one of the few items in this country that you actually have to negotiate for.
And so, yeah, I imagine some people do come in and they say some of the things that we're going to say you really shouldn't do if you don't want to pay for that Italian, family cruise, month-long vacation.
There was a comment from one of our viewers, and he talked about how much he had paid for a car, and I thought to myself, well, I wonder if the salesperson is still utilizing the timeshare he was able to buy in Hawaii off of that commission.
So let's jump right into it.
Okay.
So the first one is not necessarily something you shouldn't say, but it's something that you should convey. Either if you're doing it virtually or if you're going into the dealership, you should really
hide whatever excitement you might have. I don't know if you've ever watched poker on TV, but there's that thing called a poker face. And well, you play your cards close to your chest. You don't show any emotion on your face, and you basically just look like a zombie. And so when a salesman's trying to take your temperature as to what you think of a car, so Zach, what did you think of that car? And Zach goes, the salesman's thinking, oh, shit. Okay, but if Zach goes, oh, this is the nicest car I've ever seen. Sorry.
You're killing me with the gain.
Sorry. Apparently I have too much gain. If Zach says that, then, well, all bets are off, and that guy's going to Luxembourg for a month.
Or gal, yeah. They could be taking a nice trip off the commission they make off it. Yeah, so you really do need to, it might sound cliche, but you really shouldn't be jumping for joy. And this even could extend so far as what you're saying in your emails back and forth.
Yeah.
You really got to be kind of, I don't want to say playing a game, but you need to hold your cards close to your chest.
You need to contain your emotions. It's all about emotions, and salespeople are trying to judge your emotions, and sales managers are trying to judge your emotions, and you need to be able to control your emotions. I mean, in poker, they're called tells. Well, it's a tell when somebody's driving a car and you're on the test drive, and they just have like the biggest smile on their face, and they go, oh, man, I really like the way that took those bumps. Oh, I mean, pulling onto the highway I've never been in a car that did it as smoothly as that. Well, those are tells. Those are things that says to the salesman, he's going, cha-ching, 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 and he's adding up his commission. Now, I don't want you to think that you shouldn't be paying him some type of commission, because he is providing a service, and this is how he makes his living. But it doesn't have to be his his month's earnings in one sale. Let him have to sell a month's worth of cars, not one car, and go, well, I'm taking the rest of this month off.
Yeah, and we actually just talked about this in the podcast episode that came out yesterday, where you talked about how salespeople are trained. We did a podcast episode on that. If you're interested, let us know down below. We can do a YouTube video on it as well.
Dealerships believe that there's like an 8-step or 10-step or 5-step process that the sale has to go through, and that you should follow the steps from 1 to 8 or whatever it is, and you should never go out of that order.
And what's the first thing in your 5 steps that you trained your salespeople on?
Excitement.
So you need to try as best you can to contain some of that. And like you said, on the test drive, there are all sorts of different tells. You really got to be careful about how much excitement you're showing there, because if you get too into it, then it becomes obvious that
I mean, don't accidentally, if you're with your husband or your wife.
Yeah, this is important.
Don't accidentally say, "Well, honey, this is the nicest car we've ever been in." That's a giveaway. That's a tell. That's something that says to the salesperson, well, at least half of this equation is in on this car, and I probably won't take all that much to get the other half in based on the excitement level of the first half.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So one question I have, Dad, is
yes.
Are there tells or things that you shouldn't necessarily be doing once you're in the F&I office, when you're in the back office? Are there things there that you should avoid saying or doing? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but I'm curious.
Well, I hadn't really given that any thought, but, I think one of the tells would be, you're the best finance guy I've ever met. That could be a problem.
Sure.
Just, the only thing I would say to somebody when they go into the F&I office is, if they have absolutely, and they know this before they go in, that they have absolutely no desire whatsoever for any of the products that the finance person is going to present to them, just be honest and upfront with the guy in a nice way and say, listen, I've heard all the spiels before. I know what I need and what I don't need. The things that I do need, I've already made arrangements with through my credit union or my insurance company or whatever. So I'd appreciate, I know you have to go over this stuff with me, but I'd appreciate it if you keep it quick, and just know up front that I don't have any real interest in signing up with any of these things, for any of these things with you. However, if you get in there and they start going over the products with you, and you go, oh my God, I don't know how I could live without that, or I think I need to have this. Well, you're getting it, and that'll be added to your payment. It's just, there has to be subdued excitement for any of the things, whether it be as you're looking at the car, driving the car, communicating with your salesman or your sales manager, or communicating with the F&I manager. Subdued excitement, not overt excitement.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
One other thought I have about not being that person that pays for their month-long European vacation would be not falling prey to one of the tricks that you've described in the past, the lease versus finance, and just asking someone about.
Well, let me ask you a question, Zach. If the payment were the same, would you rather lease it or purchase it, assuming the payment was exactly the same?
If the payment's the same, Dad, I mean, I guess I would just lease it. Why not?
Yeah, because you could get a new car every 3 years.
And I could get it even,
Well, and the trick in that question is that probably 90% of all customers are payment buyers.
Yep.
What are referred to as payment buyers, and all they're really concerned with is how much they're paying for the car on a monthly basis, and whether or not they can squeeze that into their monthly budget. And typically, a lease will cost less for 36 months payment-wise than, say, a finance for 60 months. So if you said, if the payment were the same, I would take the lease. Well, that means that they have to jack up the price of the car to get the lease payment to come out to the same as the finance payment. So the answer to that question, if that trick question is ever thrown your way, the answer to that question is no. No, if the payments were the same, I would want a finance deal. Because my understanding is that a lease payment should be less because I'm only paying for the portion of the car that I'm using.
And just to touch on it, since I brought it up, the portion you're paying is the 100% minus the residual value. So if the residual value of the vehicle is 50%, you're paying for the other 50% of depreciation. So there's never really a time, and maybe you can correct me, that your lease payment should ever be more, let alone even really that close to what the finance payment could or should be.
Well, a typical lease payment for 36 months is usually equivalent to a 60 or 72-month finance payment.
There you go. Yeah. So if you're in a situation and you don't want to necessarily be that big fish that they're able to catch in a certain month,
I think in the casinos they call them whales.
If you don't want to be the whale, don't fall for that one.
Yeah.
So mask some of the excitement. Be really pretty pragmatic and almost
be matter of fact.
Matter of fact. That's a really good way to put it. And if you fall into this kind of lease versus finance question, see right through it. You're not shopping for a monthly payment. You're shopping for a good deal.
Yes, exactly. Now, do you know what time it is?
Yeah, let's check out your watch.
Okay. This watch, which Zach will hold up. This is one of my two nice watches. This is my Cartier. And this is really a lovely watch. And I want you to know, I would never spend the money for a watch like this.
People say because of like the ceilings you got in here, you got money.
I don't have money.
No, you got a Cartier though.
I got a Cartier, but I don't have money. And the way I got the Cartier is I won a sales contest with Acura. And this was
what year was that?
2000, 2001, something like that. And then I also have a Rolex that was given to me by Mr. Roger Penske when I was at Acura North Scottsdale for having attained a goal that they had set for the year. And as one of my customers was kind enough to say, he said, "Hey, Ray, that's really a nice starter Rolex you got there." And the difference between the Rolex and the Cartier is the Cartier still keeps time.
Yeah, the Rolex stopped running a while ago.
and then the rest of my watches are all, relatively inexpensive watches. But this, I thought I'd share with you one of my nice watches that I would never buy on my own, that my good friends at Acura, after about a 6-month wait, finally got that.
Were you still working at Penske? Was that what Penske
Yes,
one?
That was with Penske, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
And you've met Mr. Penske before.
I even called him Roger when I saw him. And he even called me Ray. Go figure.
Maybe we'll see if he watches the video someday. That'd be pretty cool.
Oof. I used to send him emails when his team would win the Indianapolis 500.
That's very sweet.
Yeah. He's a nice man.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Don't be a whale. Don't be a big fish.
And that was also my take on time.
And don't pay for someone's vacation. Yeah.
Nah, you don't want to do that. That's the last thing you want to do. Let them earn that vacation off of a whole bunch of people, not just off of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you've talked about this a lot, Dad. These are profit-making organizations.
Supposed to be.
Really, you're entitled to a fair deal.
Mm-hmm.
A good deal.
Yeah.
Don't let yourself, because you're really excited to buy a new sports car or new whatever. Be matter of fact. I think that's really good advice.
Yep. That's the way to be. I hope you found this helpful today. If not, well, check back tomorrow. There's a possibility there might be a nugget in tomorrow's show.
See you then.
Yep. Thanks, Zach.